I feel like it's God's purpose for my life. When you have God's favor on your life, doors open effortlessly. They're just searching for somebody that will speak life into them and, treat them like a human being and like they're important and they're cared for. And I'm not asking you to do all the work. I'm going to stand here and help you.
Welcome back to the Lost and Foundry show. I've got Julia here with me today. She's been with the Foundry for about 8 years now.
Yes.
And she's the general manager of our Pelham thrift store.
Yes.
So we'll talk about that in a second. It is the holiday season. Thanksgiving's tomorrow if you're watching this right when it comes out. And here at the Foundry, things are chaotic.
Yes, for sure.
I bet things are chaotic in your home as well. So we hope you don't forget about us during this season. You're part of the Foundry family. And, there's lots of things going on. One thing that's coming up in a couple of days is Black Friday.
Yes.
Hey, thrift is a place you need to be.
Yes,
Black Friday.
absolutely. Don't forget the thrift stores.
Yeah, we'll talk about that in a few minutes too. Also, we have Giving Tuesday coming up. If you haven't heard of Giving Tuesday, there's all these days. You got Black Friday, you got Small Business Saturday,
and then
Cyber Monday.
I
think there's another one for Sunday.
Yep.
And so we get one too, and it's the Tuesday. I think we're last on the list. Well, go figure, right? But we hope that after all the chaos of Thanksgiving and being around families and doing shopping and sharing the love and being on the internet, yada yada, that when Tuesday comes around, that you make your voice heard. That those suffering from addiction, they matter. That this life change that's happening here matters. So whether that's a donation that you make or whether it's just making your voice heard, we appreciate you being part of the Foundry family and supporting this incredible mission that's happening here.
Absolutely.
Talk a little bit about how you ended up at the Foundry, what you do here.
Well, 8 years ago, the Pelham thrift store was opening in November of 2019, and I was newly sober. Actually, and I applied at the thrift store, and Sis Dixon just rounded me up and loved on me, and that's how I got here.
Yeah, so the Pelham thrift store opened about eight
years
years ago, and
yeah.
next month,
Yeah. No, this month, November.
This month. Oh, November, yeah.
Yep.
Okay, so there's a funny story
November
around
9th.
that.
What's that?
So we were planning on opening. I was brand new to the Foundry.
Yep.
I've been here for a few months, and they wanted to send out a mailer to get there for the grand opening. We had a date that we wanted to open. And long story short, I didn't get the graphic done in time. It wasn't exactly my fault. It was somewhat my fault. And so we ended up opening the thrift store later than we wanted to.
Oh, wow.
And obviously there's so much money you make every day.
Sure.
So that's the thing that was ringing around was we're losing X amount of money every day.
I can hear it now. Yep.
It was already a hard project for us to get off the ground.
Yeah.
There were lots of complications that went on. So people were very anxious to get that store open. And
Right.
if you've never been part of a retail environment, especially one as big as a thrift store,
It was chaos.
It is chaos.
Yeah.
And in the early days when you're trying to figure things out,
Yeah.
it can be even more chaotic.
Absolutely.
So you're the general manager
I
of
am.
Pelham. So you're over the location. What does a day look like for you over there?
It depends on, it depends. It really does. But I start my day upstairs, counting money and getting the store side ready. And then I'm there when the participants show up in the vans and making sure they're not they're bringing the right stuff in, not the wrong stuff. And then counting heads and making sure everybody's here, talking to programs about this person's supposed to be here or there or where is he kind of thing. And, and then I walk the floor, just to different places and checking in with all the staff, making sure I'm not needed somewhere. And I'm always needed somewhere if it's not pricing furniture in the warehouse or pricing clothes at the pods or, helping on the floor, check rows when the ladies first come in, they learning how to work the rows correctly. And I check behind them and they don't like me much at that point because they see me as an authority. And so later on in their program, I make a point to reach out to each of the ladies specifically. And I'm here, I love you. I appreciate you. Can I help you? And so a relationship builds from day one.
Yeah, it's tough, isn't it?
It is.
So if you don't know much about the Foundry and kind of the inner workings of what we do, the program is mostly free for people who want to participate. There's a small intake fee, but for the most part, for the 6 to 9 months that you're here at the Foundry facility, it's free. So don't have to pay for food or housing. There's a $600 something intake fee. But I mean, you can imagine all the costs just for food that goes on for 6 months. So, but one of the cool things about our program is that the thrift stores make up like 65% of the
budget.
funding for the whole program.
Yep.
So participants will 1 week they'll be in class, learning about their addiction, going to counseling, doing all the things that are necessary for recovery. And then the week after, they go and apply all those skills that they've learned.
And
so
they come and work for us
so
at the thrift store.
the thrift store is one of those places that they go. They also serve as receptionists or on the maintenance team, maybe as a line cook.
In the dining hall.
Right. So in a lot of ways, participants put on their own recovery.
They do.
Which is incredible. And also, many participants have never had a job without using a substance.
That's always fun.
Yeah. So not only do you have to deal with staffing a store, merchandising the store,
Yeah.
all the other unique things that if you've been involved with the retail environment, there's lots of things going on. But you're also working directly with a vulnerable population.
Absolutely. Yeah, they come in broken and scared, and they have no light in their eyes. And we teach them how to do their job, and it repeats. Now I have a 6-month program. The cycle of coming in and going out is so much quicker than it used to be. So we find ourselves training every single day, how to do it the right way, and how to count it the right way, and stay busy. And
one of the incredible things, I was talking to a participant on Monday, and he said that he actually looked forward to his give week, to his thrift store week.
Yeah.
He was tired of being in class.
Yes, they get a lot of brain food when they're in their grow weeks, and when they come to the store, some of them work on the dock, and that's very physical.
Yeah.
And then the new guys always start working the tables, and they just stand in one place. I'm putting clothes on a hanger, but after they've been here a while, they get to move around and do something a little more physical, and they enjoy that.
Yeah. So when COVID happened, a lot of us staff.
I say that often.
Yeah.
I said, I appreciate you being here. We can do it without you, because we did during COVID.
Yeah.
But you make our job easier.
Yeah.
About the participants.
Yeah. The participants do. I think it's really admirable how someone can be in the lifestyle, be in drug houses or be couch surfing, or maybe even be just straight up on the street homeless.
Yep.
And how quickly they can find their footing and become a valuable part of the team.
Absolutely.
A positive part of the team.
Absolutely, yeah.
So another thing that I think is interesting about the thrift stores is the way that we do merchandising in the back. You were in the middle of all that change. When COVID happened, a bunch of us staff members went to the thrift stores to help. I remember one of the jobs that I had to do for a long time in the back was when someone's thrifted items would come in, we would grab that trash bag, rip it open, and put it on a conveyor belt.
Yep.
Then you'd have 4 or 5 people like reaching out and sorting things, and it was chaos, and it was dirty, and the process has changed quite a lot.
Yes.
So talk about how positive that change has been. And
we didn't bring the conveyor belt with us when we closed Fairfield. We don't have the room for it in production in Pelham. But now they stand at 2 tables, which are 12 feet from each other, apart. And they have cages behind them, and they bring those trash bags over to the table one at a time and tear them open. But from that part of the process, it's still the same. They put them in piles, men's, kids, and women's, and then the 2 guys on the other side are putting them on hangers, and then they put them on hanger racks behind them, so they could then be priced by the pricers.
We go through so much stuff at the thrift stores.
So much.
That it's likely that the thing you bought at the thrift store that day was sorted that day in the back room.
Yeah, absolutely.
It'll go straight from the back of someone's car to the sorting table,
Yeah.
onto a rack, out onto the floor, all on the same day.
It does.
It's amazing how many things we move in a day and how quickly that process happens. And lots of stuff going on. And it's likely that someone in a program actively working on their recovery was involved with the purchase.
Absolutely.
So we do have some protections around that. So at a register or something like that, you're not going to run into a participant. We try to protect them in that way.
But the women work on the floor.
Yeah.
So once they make it through production, they've been priced, they've been tagged, they go to the women's side, and then the women are responsible for putting them in the right place on the sales floor, and they get credit for that. They have quotas they have to meet every day. Yeah. And then they the ladies work the rows and do the recovery. So when the store's nice and neat in the morning, we give all that credit to the female participants who work on the floor to make that possible.
It's awesome. So, you can see how incredible the Foundry's program is when it comes to, all the profit, all the proceeds from the stores funds the program too.
Yep.
So, there's no middleman or anything like that. All the donations you give and the shopping you do goes right back into someone's recovery journey.
It does.
Talk a little bit about, you work a lot with the participants.
I do.
In some ways, you're a counselor, a mentor, you're in their
Absolutely.
lives at some level.
Yeah.
So talk about a story that stands out for you.
There's so many, because they come in broken with no light in their eyes and no direction in their life. And, they're just searching for somebody that will speak life into them and, treat them like a human being and like they're important and they're cared for, and just making that connection with them, and also working alongside them. I'm not asking you to do all the work. I'm going to stand here and help you. You're helping me, and I'm helping you learn what I need to be done. So there's just so many. And the best part is when, after they phase out, after they graduate, I've hired graduates gladly. Yeah. But the best part is when, after they graduate and they come back a year later and bring their families and introduce us to their wives and husbands and their kids. And, I'm doing really good, Miss Julia. I got a good job, and my wife has reconciled with me, and we got our kids back. There's just so many. It's really a blessing to watch that whole process. I saw you walk in, and you didn't like me. You didn't want to go to work. You didn't want to stay in place, and then you come hugging my neck and saying thank you.
Yeah.
For just being the person that God intended you to be.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's amazing.
It's hard to be on our side of that process sometimes, because you have to be willing to take some of the
Oh yeah.
the abrasiveness.
Nobody's tried to fight me this month.
yeah. But so even the other day, we had someone bring in care packages for the ladies from a church, and the person delivering it was a graduate of the program.
Yep.
Someone who did the reception desk here in the women's
She
center.
did.
When I first came in, she was the reception person for me. So, a lot of times, because we're staff members and they're participants, it's like two groups of people. But it's incredible when they're graduates and they become involved and they're part of it. And
Yes.
it's
That is
a full
so
circle.
important.
Yeah, it is important. And I really love when they step up and they become part of it. At one point, over half of the staff at the Foundry were Foundry graduates.
Yep.
So yeah, the Foundry is incredible and produces a lot, but the Foundry is the product of Foundry participants.
It is, absolutely.
Eddie was a Foundry graduate, and Jackie's a Foundry graduate, and so lots of the leadership is
Ralph,
yeah.
Yep. Judd.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean,
there's lots of them.
all over the place.
All over the place.
So yeah, it's been incredible. Drew.
Drew.
Yeah. So the majority of our directors
Leadership,
are
absolutely.
So yeah, and a big part of that is having staff members like you who are involved in their lives, who kind of, maybe do the dirty work in a way.
I feel like it's God's purpose for my life. I've never had so much of God's favor. When you have God's favor on your life, doors open effortlessly. I was hired as a cashier, and then I went to production and hung clothes. And then I went to assistant manager for a few years, and then I've been a general manager for years. And that's all God's favor, every single bit of it. I couldn't have done it on my own. I didn't deserve it. I didn't earn it. That's what God's favor looks like.
Yeah. And if you want a job at the Foundry, foundryministry.com/careers, that can happen for you too. So yeah, I mean, Foundry is a great place to work. Anybody who's a part of us is part of the Foundry family.
Yeah.
Let's switch gears to another part of the Foundry family we might not talk about all that often. The customers at the stores.
Yeah.
They're a big, important
They're
part.
awesome.
Yeah.
I love the customers. Maybe a third of the total customer knows what we do, who we are, and why we're doing it. But I would love to find more ways to reach the people who don't know who we are and don't know why we're open.
Absolutely.
Because there's another store right down the road that is totally for profit, and they come in and they say, well, no, it's just a thrift store. No,
Right.
it's not just a thrift store. And I find myself often talking to customers, and no, this is what we do. That lady right there hanging the clothes, that guy carrying your furniture out, he's volunteering his time as part of his program. You can go to our website. I quote the website a lot. Go to our website and find out ways that you can plug yourself in. I find myself doing that a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so we're talking about customers, maybe the greatest variety of people. Every time I go in there, it really represents the community when you go
It really
to a thrift
does.
store.
Absolutely.
We're coming up on the shopping season.
Yes.
Right. So Black Friday's coming up, which
Yes.
is going to be a lot of fun. And we highly encourage you to make thrift a part of your Black
Absolutely.
Friday, your Christmas shopping experience.
Yes.
I would say for me, when I go to the thrift store shopping for myself, I'm looking for like a unique item.
Yeah.
Like something I'm not going to find anywhere else.
That's right.
So we hope that maybe if you're shopping for someone that's a little hard to shop for, maybe you can go to the thrift store and find something at the thrift store you're not going to see anywhere else.
We had a game console donated, Mortal Kombat.
Oh.
A game console, the old school
yeah.
style. We get all kind of unique items.
Well, someone could have bought me that.
I know.
Still there.
I know.
Wow. So if you're at the thrift store shopping for me, look for game consoles. Go ahead and buy that for me. Okay.
I've seen Pac-Man, Mr. Pac-Man, and now Mortal Kombat come through.
And you're going to get that unique item at a crazy low price.
Yes,
Like that.
absolutely.
Julia, thank you for joining me today.
Thank you so much.
Yeah.
I'm honored.
Happy Thanksgiving.
Yes.
Merry Christmas.
Merry
We'll see you
Christmas.
next year.